Yo, this is Andre. We are back with another video from a completely new gym. This is Block Dog. I brought you video from Block Dog, I don't know, 1 week, 2 weeks ago. But this is their new branch in Petržalka, which is part of Bratislava. And I have never been here because this second branch of Block Dog opened right after I left to Asia. So you know that Block Dog, the first major branch, the main branch, used to be my home gym. So I had some expectations of this one. I heard something from some guys that climb in the main branch that it's not as great. So maybe I'll find some time to talk about my impressions, but overall, like, the boulders were super great for me. You're going to see 28 different boulders here in this video that I climbed during my first and probably the last visit. So the boulders are really like 5 stars. No issue with that. The big problem that I had with this gym was that, unlike in the main branch in Russia, where you have very good training facility with weights, here you have no weights. And what is the biggest issue for me is that I couldn't find any brush that can be extended, you know, the one that can be extended. So they only have very short brushes. So if you want to brush something up high, you have to climb. So that really sucks. Anyway, I want to talk about the boulders because they were really good. This was 6A, pretty tough one. This is, I think, a slabby part of the wall. It's not that long, but going through the pockets was a little bit of a challenge. This was definitely the hardest 6A that I tried. And there next to me you can see the only brushes that you can use. One of them is a little bit longer, but it's not that long for you to be able to reach the holes that are on top of the wall. Anyway, going back to the boulder, this big block that I'm holding was super slippery, so I couldn't grab onto anything. Texture wasn't that grippy, like you couldn't guppy it as I normally do. So I think it was mostly about body positioning and also utilizing the wall, as you're going to see right now. What else? So my approach for this gym was slightly different because I saw some big volumes there, which usually catch my attention because I like those because they're usually pretty grippy. So I decided to climb whatever I found was interesting. And when it came to the lower grades, like 6A, 6A plus, I picked the ones that were sort of probably going to be a challenge, which is why I picked the previous one that you just saw. It was a hard flash, like I really had to try hard. This one was in the corner. The holds look a little bit similar, but this one you're climbing in the corner, so once again you can use, or at least I can use the splits in between the walls. This move was kind of committing. I'm not sure if there was another way how to do it, but from here on it was really just stand up higher and then reach the top. Let's see what is next one. This one I picked, like, okay, maybe let's do some easier 6A after the 2-1. So this was really just decent crimps and pretty much just compressions until you get a little bit higher, where you have two sort of like mini Gastons, but nothing difficult. So yes, if you saw any of my previous videos, you know that I usually work on all the boulders on a certain difficulty and I try to clear them all, and then only I'm kind of like moving higher. So in this case I skipped some boulders I definitely skipped some 6As, I skipped some 6Bs, but yeah, like I said, I just wanted to try boulders that are usually within my range, which, if you saw the previous video from Block Talk, should be like 6A, 6B. But in this case, I decided to try harder ones as well, and you're going to see that later. This is the first 6A plus with a little bit of a stand up into decent crimp, so I didn't have much of a problem. This one, another 6A plus. This one was interesting. There are some small footholds on the volumes, but I didn't have that big of a problem with this boulder. Could be because of or maybe I just don't remember that I had a problem with this. Usually standing on these things, probably at this point I felt a little bit of worry that I might slip, but the top hole was pretty good, so you could even jump into it. This one, 6A plus, again, I picked this one because these holes are pretty sketchy. You had to jump into it, and here I'm gonna tap with my heels to actually make a valid start, because until then I think I only had 1 foot on the starting hold. And these are dual techs. You probably have seen them in some competitions, so you have to find the right place. Here I had problems. I didn't know how to actually stand up from that. But then I found, see, my right hand is palming and there is some texture, that's the textured part. And I was finally able to stand up. And there are usually some holes on some of them that you can crimp into. Pretty sure my left hand is in a crimp, it's not a sloper. And then you just slowly work your way up. And yeah, you have to be somewhat precise with the feet as well. You don't want to obviously stand on the slippery part unless you have to. Here I like committed to the final move going into the top, not knowing that there will be some hole or something, but it worked. This was a 6A plus, I think. Again, I messed up the start because I should have first tapped with my left foot on the wall before I did the heel, but hopefully you'll forgive me. It was interesting because this wall is a slight overhang, FY. Here I messed up the toe hook at first, it slipped a little bit, but the rest of it was pretty good. And yeah, I did a lot of footwork, so I usually like this. This one, another 6A plus, very crimpy. I really like this climb. Usually I don't seek or enjoy crimps much, but I think my fingers got a bit stronger, so I don't fear crimpy climbs. Right now, the only type of holes that I don't like or I'm not feeling comfortable with are slopers. But this one was this one was really good. Here I did read the beta. I'm already behind in my voiceover, but the hold next to the long green one, I knew that I have to hit it with the left one. If I hit it with the right, it's going to mess up everything. And that was it for 6A pluses. So here is the first 6B that I decided to try. I messed up the start. I initially thought I'm gonna have to do like a heel. Usually I don't like to stand on a heel. Doing like a heel hook is something different, but then once you shift your weight and you have to stand on a heel, I feel very bad. But when I try to do like a flag and stand on it with my left leg, it just didn't feel right. I'm not sure if I climbed this right because I saw some people climb it differently, some girl later on. But yeah, I did some weird split, but I got myself higher, so I guess that's what counts. These holds at the end were pretty decent, I think. So not a big issue, and I was happy about my first 6B. Then I picked this one because it has some pretty small footholds even at the start, and then you have to stand on the volumes. So I thought this might helped me work on my fear of standing on sketchy things, which seems to be a very common problem recently for me. So yeah, here I'm not sure if I did the right way, because here I'm really holding so much weight on the right crimp to get my left foot there. I'm not sure if there's a better way. And even the inside flag, you can see that I'm still scared because my butt is sticking out. This is a 6B plus. This is what I told you about, that I like these big volumes. I wasn't sure how to start, because normally I would start with the flag, but if you flag it with your right foot, you don't have anywhere to place it, and if you tap it on the starting hold, then you're not respecting the starting tags. So that's why I did the knee bar, and I thought you have to do some more balancing at the top, that it wouldn't be easy to hold the top hold, but it was actually super easy. So I think that one could have been made slightly harder for 6B plus. Now, this 6B plus, the mint one, is the first one where I got stuck for a while. I didn't know how to make the first move because you're going up into that underclink. Here I'm like jumping, you can see. I thought that maybe you have to kind of like jump up and grab the underclink, but not sure if I was just scared or I just decided that probably it's not what you're supposed to do. There's a little hold, which is like a for thumb, or for like a very skinny pinch, or I'm not sure how you call that grip type where you press with your thumb into your, index finger into some of the pads. So I'm trying to do this move, basically just rock over, but I was stuck in this position because I didn't get anything from the left hand. Here pressing into the volume didn't help that much. It didn't feel like I'm stable. I'm able to stick some fingers into it, but again, I didn't feel very very stable, and I think I'm just going to drop it. I'm not sure where the idea came from, if this is going to be the Sengo, let's see. But look at my back foot. So just that little subtle movement, to not try to stack all the right leg behind and fully rock over, but to actually use it kind of like to stand up a little bit. I think that's what gave me some more stability to then go higher. And here again also you have this underclink, so I first had to get up on the volume using the better the lower crimp, and only then use the underclink. So this is 6B with some pinches and some heel hooks. This wall is again overhang. I wasn't sure if I'll be good at this. I wanted to brush it, but again, the lack of the extendable brush didn't allow me to brush everything. I was mostly scared for the second to last hold, but I managed to do it. Next one is kind of like a balancy, walking on the volumes type of boulder. It's a 6B, and I think I initially wanted to go through this section a little bit differently, but here the guppy thing with my right hand actually helped me to get up. I thought initially that I'm gonna have to palm into the volume, and then you're like reaching behind, and then you have to make this step down and not fall off the wall. So here I'm getting my left leg a little bit lower so I don't have to make such a move, and it worked, and the rest of the boulder is pretty fine. Here again I'm gupping this hold with my right hand, and even my left hand is gupping, so guppy all the way. and that's the boulder. Next one is this 6B plus, which one of the guys was working on. Wasn't sure how to get into the ball on the volume. I thought that maybe you have to jump into it, but then I found this move, which is again my favorite heel, and then you back flag pretty extensively to balance yourself out, and then you go from there. So the back foot, the back flag allows you to match, then you change your feet, and then you have to mantle up into the pinch. This wall, I think, is again slightly overhung, if I'm not mistaken. And I couldn't do it and I dropped it. So I'm trying to see how the hold is. And it was pretty good. I thought it would be way worse, this one and the top one. But the pinches were pretty good, even for me. I don't like pinches that much. And here I'm trying to see, like from the mantling, that I have the reach. And again, the difference is where my back leg is. So in the first attempt, my right leg was on this big yellow hold, but that limited my reach. So all I had to do was smear and get closer. And that was basically it. The rest of the boulder is pretty simple. While I was here, I had a look at this Crimpy 6C. I think right now it would be the hardest grade that we're going to try. So I didn't expect much, but I was able to grab this one. When I tried the holds from the ground, they didn't feel that great, but climbing it was pretty good. Here I was a bit scared of this move, and here I'm going to use a heel again because there are no feet to get higher. So once again I have to rely on the heel and smearing the wall to get higher, and then you just get the leg up and you go into the top. So that was the first 6E and the flash. After that I decided that maybe it's time to tackle 7A. I never did 7A in block dock. Not that I tried that many, but I felt good, and like I said, I like these big holds because they usually are very grippy. So once again, we are gupping everything. Like I said, it is my new favorite grip type. Here I didn't know how to get... I mean, I had an idea, but I slipped down. So this is the second attempt. I have to say that this was pretty physical, holding it. And I slipped in the second attempt, so this is the third attempt right away after that. And I thought of a different method how to go to the second volume and not slip, and that was actually to press, like you can see here, with my feet into the big volume, because that one has much better friction. So I got into this position. I'm trying not to slip with my feet. I'm able to reach this one. So I established myself. I was pretty stable here. Here I'm going to do like a lean back. And here I think you have to kind of like press into the wall, but I fell down and I gave up after that. But I think I had some good potential of sending this. This is some sort of a dyno. The start, again, this wall is a little bit overhang. The start was a bit weird. I'm not sure if I did it the right way, but I have to go first with my left hand and then with right. And then the jump was pretty decent. Again, could be that I just got better at my finger strength over the time. Here I thought that maybe you have to mantle, but fortunately I was able to reach that crimp. That was pretty good. And then you just lock yourself in between the two holds with your legs and you match. This one, again, the wall is overhang. I think this was 6B plus. This one looked interesting and a bit tough because those holds that you're gonna see later on. So this one was pretty good jog. You can see I'm chilling with the swing. But from now on the right side especially, you get into these skinny pinches or like crimpy. You can see I'm full crimping. And this hold that I'm holding with my left hand was the worst one. The shoulder, I don't know, angle that I have is something that I'm definitely not used to. So I didn't know what to do, and I just decided to bomb, and fortunately that worked. And from there it was pretty fine, just getting into the top bank. Next one is 6C. That was kind of recommended to me, like it's easy just walking. I had some idea for the beta. You can see that there is one small foothold on the wall to the left, on the black part. Here I'm trying to think if I'm maybe supposed to stand up on the starting holds and just walk on top of them, but then I change it and I go back to the original idea. But I try to execute it slightly better, so I'm smearing all the way until I hit that wall. And now I have a pretty stable position, and now I have a pretty big split. I'm not sure if this was really the intended beta, because I am quite flexible, so I was able to do it. I'm not sure how people with less flexibility do it, if there's an alternative way. But anyway, here you're standing on the volume, but it didn't feel that slippery, so it was fine. This is another 7A. I'm not sure if I started it the right way, because that right thing on the volume maybe could have also belonged to another blue boulder from the other side that you're gonna see later. But anyway, I gave it a try. I was fearing that this might be the crux. These footholds where my left foot is were pretty tiny, but for some reason I felt pretty okay on them. And then I thought that maybe another crux would be getting around the corner, that maybe you have to do some, I don't know, jump into, I don't know, split between the two walls. But I found this way to do it super statically. And then I didn't know where exactly the top hole is, because it's behind the corner, but I just did this drop knee and that's it. So I did my first 7A, it was a flash, so I think it's definitely undercooked. Whatever. So after that, I felt like, okay, maybe let's try another 7A. That was right here, because here you can see that you have this big thing that you're getting into, and then there's one hold on top of it, so you just mantle up on that. I'm usually pretty okay with mantles, so I thought maybe I have some chance. The first move, I never did it on the first go. I think I hesitated, and right after I tried again better, I was able to do it, but I couldn't bring my right leg up. And then I thought that maybe what could work, and again I missed the first attempt, would be to get my left leg higher. So I think here I'm trying to match feet first and then move left leg up. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think maybe that could have worked, but it put so much pressure on my left wrist that I didn't like it. So in this section, again, I think this is some slight overhang. I saw this 6C, again, mint one. It looked pretty easy. The first move maybe wasn't that easy, but the rest of the boulder was kinda simple. I don't know, it's really just sticking yourself in between this, and that was a flash. And this is the last boulder that you're going to see, the 6C that I told you that I wasn't sure if that tag on the blue little hold on the volume, if it belongs to the 7A or the 6C. I think there are still probably some tags missing for the feet, but I try to like kind of respect it, that maybe you're not supposed to start standing on those feet, and maybe you're supposed to just use the volumes. which is why the tags are not missing, but I couldn't do anything. And what is more important is that this last boulder messed up my shoulder a little bit, the right one. I think my rotator cuff hurt a little bit, like when I crossed my right arm to the left side of my body. Like, for example, when I was, I don't know, taking off clothes or using a towel, it really hurt a little bit. So that's why I'm taking a little bit longer until my next session. But I think now is, what day is it? It's Thursday. So I think it's 3 days after, no, sorry, it's Wednesday. So it's 2 days after my session. And I think it's slowly getting better. So that's it. That's going to be the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you want, definitely check out Blockduck. The boulders there are pretty cool. I still think Racha is better than Petržalka, but anyway, if you want variety of boulders, I think you can just go to any of these gyms. See you in the next one.